How many times have you found an almost perfect item only to have it ruined by one terrible stat? For 10 seasons, we've all been there. We've been praying to the RNG gods and salvaging a mountain of gear in the hopes of just finding that one affix. And we're usually just one affix away from something being incredible. Well, get ready to say goodbye to that feeling. In Season 11, Blizzard is finally handing us the hammer. Masterworking and tempering aren't just minor tweaks. They're a total overhaul of Diablo 4's itemization DNA. So let's break down exactly how you're going to use these systems to forge your own god tier loot and crush the meta. Let's be real, the whole philosophy of Diablo's endgame is getting a facelift, including one bonus area that I didn't mention in the title, but we'll cover here in a minute. But the old way of just hoping for a perfect random drop is out. Blizzard is swapping that frustrating slot machine for a craftsman's workshop, moving us from passive luck to active strategic crafting with a little bit of a caveat. This new era is built on two powerful pillars that have been built into the game for seasons and seasons. So tempering and masterworking. That is the order. It's tempering, masterworking, and sanctification, which we'll get to. These systems are designed to work together, giving you more control over your gear than ever before. And it's not just about what you find anymore, it's about what you can create. Okay, it's a little bit about what you find between enchanting and masterworking and tempering and sanctification. You have 4 different ways to change an item, right? So it's a huge step forward in your time investment to feel genuinely rewarding. Now, here currently in Season 10, we have a masterworking system and a tempering system in place, but let's look at the current system as is. So if we take any normal item, this is an ancestral, it has 1 greater affix, you can add 2 different tempers. So now when we go into the tempering system, you can select any of these categories and you can click on that category, and what you do, you'll click here, it's going to bind it, and you get lucky hit. So out of all of these choices, lucky hit has 4 different categories. We had a 40% chance to deal cold damage, poison damage, shadow damage, right? So 3 categories. If we change it, we can go to werebear. We can re-roll this. We have 6 more attempts. We skip that. Our temper has been complete. An affix has been added. We have a 29% chance for pulverize. The roll percentage was 26 to 35. We close that. Go back. If you pick werebear again, you can do that. Or you can simply just temper the item to re-roll again. And now you have a chance for trample. So if you were looking for one of these, if you have a Maul build, your chance to get Maul is 1 out of 3. And I can see how this might have been a slightly frustrating system. So what's different in Season 11? Season 11 is going to have the same augment categories that we have here, except when you click into werebear augments, you are going to have the option now to select Maul, pulverize, or trample. And whenever you click to temper the item, it is going to roll it between, let's just say pulverize. You are going to get the 26 to 35% chance. You're only going to re-roll it if you didn't get 35%. So if you're trying to min-max your gear, you want to try to get 35%, you will take these re-roll chances now, and you can simply pick one affix. The changes are that you pick one category, whether it's offense or any of these 6 items, and you're going to pick one thing out of here, and that is it. So items that have 2 affixes, like this one will have now. Now if I look at the item, you can see we have 102% core damage increase. We also have 48% chance for trample. Now, what Blizzard has done is added more legendaries, affixes to items that drop to combat that you're only getting one temper. So basically now you get 4 randoms instead of 3, and you get 1 temper, which is guaranteed. So it's kind of a, it's still kind of a gamble situation here, but that is the main change that we're seeing in Season 11. 1 temper, you pick it, guaranteed to get it, but you're gambling for your chance to get a higher roll on your temper. Oh, in Season 11, it's not much different to how it works today. You will find tempering manuals. Once you learn a manual, you can head to the blacksmith and apply an affix directly to your gear. The biggest change here is only 1 affix is applied and versus 2 like the previous seasons, but the application is guaranteed to be the one you want versus a random roll, and you can restore these infinitely. So basically you're just looking for the highest percentage roll. If you want to change your build later and change the affix, you can. You should be able to use a scroll of restoration. So you lose that gut-wrenching feeling of bricking a roll. It's gone. So the RNG kind of turns more into true, crafting and being able to change a build, or just completely not breaking an item that you wanted to use in the first place and trying to find one that had the same stats that you wanted. So turns it into a bit more of a strategic process. All right, part 2 is masterworking. So let's take a look at this system and determine how we're going to forge that masterpiece in Diablo 4 Season 11. So once you've tempered your item with 2 affixes in the current season, you can go to the next tab in the blacksmith and you can start adding ranks. So we have rank 1 through 12. Each one costs a bunch of different materials. As you can see here, we've got obdusite, we've got iron chunks, veiled crystals, baleful fragments, and forgotten souls. Now, in this system, previously we've gotten 12 ranks, and then once you're done with your 12 ranks, the item is pretty much done, right? So as you're going through this process, you can actually get upgrades to GA affixes. So if we look at this item here, we can see this has a GA affix plus 6 spirit on kill, right? So masterworking has a chance to upgrade that affix along with anything else that I put on here, including tempering. So if I go through the process and you do 4 ranks and we skip that, we can see core damage is up 142 up to 142%. So from the previous value. So now we are, and you can see it goes all the way up to 182%. So we could potentially get that. Now you can roll that again once you do the next 4 ranks. Or you could potentially, rank up anything else on the item. You can see I get plus 7 to spirit on kill now. So if we close that, so all the affixes increase by 5% each time. And then when you hit these kind of monumental ranks, you get a bonus rank, right? So if we upgrade here, we can skip that, and one of our affixes increased by 25%, so we get plus 340 to willpower. And if we do it again, this is our last one, so 81.6 chance for trample to deal double damage. So now if we look at the item, we have 3 blue affixes, which means those are the 3 masterworked, the bonus ones. Everything else goes up 5% every single time that you masterwork, like each click. So 1 through 12 all gets at least 5% bonus, and then every 4 clicks you get a 25% bonus to one of these stats. So let's talk about what's different in Season 11 is you're going to have 20 ranks, but the ranks are not going to upgrade these legendary powers that came with the item. They're going to upgrade the item's damage, the item's armor, things like that. So core stats to the actual item itself, and not legendary affixes. So each time you do that, it's going to be 2 to 5 levels according to Blizzard for each time you click. So we're doing 20 levels. So we're seeing anywhere from 40 to 100. So either armor or damage per second, things like that, are going to be affected in this system. Now for the God roll moment, when you hit final rank quality 20, the system upgrades one of your items random affixes. So every time this was happening every 4 ranks, so you'd had this 3 times, you're going to get this once. The item's random affix is going to be called a capstone greater affix. So the real in-game chase, it doesn't hit the affix you want. You can spend materials and re-roll this as well. So once you get to quality 20, the item is not like done. You can get that capstone greater affix, but if you don't like that, all you're doing is spending either obsidian or neodyne to change it, the greater effects, to what you want. So you don't lose those 20 ranks that you put into it, which can be a lot of materials, and this is how you'll put that final touch on your masterpiece item. The synergy and how it all comes together, these aren't just 2 separate systems. They're one seamless process for crafting perfect gear. The new in-game loop is simple, but can be incredibly satisfying. First, you hunt for a solid base item. In good use, non-unique items can now drop with 4 affixes instead of 3, giving you a better starting point, and then you can enchant and change one of those to make an even better starting point. Next, use tempering to add the exact affix of your build needs with 0 risk of bricking the item, and once your affixes are locked in, you begin the masterworking process, grinding materials to steadily boost its raw power through 20 ranks. Finally, you can chase that perfect capstone greater affix to elevate your item to legendary status. It's a journey from a great drop to a self-made god tier item. Last but not least is some bonus content. I said I would talk about sanctification just a little bit. I know this video heavily focused on tempering and masterworking, but it would be of disservice if I didn't mention sanctification. So let's go into that. As I mentioned, I would throw in some bonus content from sanctification. So this is the icing on the cake, or possibly the biggest brick moment of all time. After you masterwork an item, you have one last chance at glory on an item to sanctify it or solidify one more upgrade permanently. It is a gamble, but it's likely to hit something good. So what can you get? You may get so fortunate to apply a bonus legendary power, improve 1 power to a greater affix, replace an affix with a sanctification affix, or make your item indestructible. But let's be real, nobody wants the indestructible one. 2 ways to sanctify an item. In pre-torment, you can defeat a lesser evil in a game mode, such as you could be in a Helltide, and have a rare chance to visit the Heavenly Anvil. You must use it at the time of receipt. So once you defeat lesser evil, you're going to get something that says, hey, you want to go to the Heavenly Anvil, and you have a window there to sanctify an item. Limited time offer. Batteries not included. Second way is to obtain heavenly sigils. So these can be used to transport you to the heavenly forge and perform sanctification. And you can do this on ancestral quality items found in torment levels. So in conclusion, season 11, there's going to be a new meta for, blacksmithing and crafting your items. If you're getting hyped for season 11, if you played the PTR, drop a subscribe. Let me know what's happening in the chat. Leave comments. Let me know what you're excited about for the new changes. Do you hate the changes? Do you think we even needed changes? Personally, I thought season 10 was pretty good. It's always good to shake up the systems, but it's usually at an outcry of the public and not just a willy-nilly, hey, it's season 11, let's roll some new changes. So this is the new meta that's coming. The end game is no longer about luck of the drop. It has a little bit more of a feel of you wielding the hammer to craft what you would like, and a little bit more about the skill of the crafter, so you can change an item, reuse an item, things like that. It's not just a bricked item, or it's not just stuck in one build, to be honest. If you like the item and you have another tune, move it to the other tune if you want. Kind of transforms the end game from a game of chance into a rewarding workshop. It's still a grind to collect all the materials and do all of that, so some players will note that the time investment is still required. And yeah, there's a little bit of RNG in finding the item that you want to put through this process, but once you do, you get a little good RNG and you get through your capstone, you should be able to get that item that you want to go and sanctify and hopefully not break it entirely. So yes, for the first time, we had the power to create the perfect gear. I say almost perfect gear because it still relies on you finding the role that you want initially. However, it doesn't require you to just trash the item if you found a good one. So I think it moves the brick to, I think it shifts it to the left in the process. If you find an item and you don't like it, you're not even going to put it through this process. So hopefully in season 11, you're not just a hero, you're a smith, and it's time to get to the forge, my friends. I will see you in Sanctuary.